I ain't gonna do no whole long drawn out thing about this video. I just really wanted to cover something that I found interesting. I was watching, I was on Instagram. I was actually scrolling. I don't remember who posted it, but I think it was Below Hip Hop or one of them blogs that I follow. And they posted this on the radar cypher essentially that they did. And I think it's kind of crazy that like the context that I saw the video in was that this is what the Double XL cover should have looked like. And I agree with that. You know, I kind of feel like it's a little crazy that Double XL has somehow lost the plot. Like, you know, they're the ones that sort of spearheaded the movement of getting all the new up and coming rappers, you know, in a common space and making them kind of, you know, get some highlights, get some spotlight and kind of show them off to the world together, which kind of does a few things. It allows those people to network with one another, which strengthens their class and their sort of community or whatever. You know, it showcases hip hop in a positive way. You know, it does a few things, but I feel like a few years ago, Double XL lost the plot and they started clout chasing. I don't know, you know, I don't know what the reason would be, but they started going with artists that like, it all seemed like clout chasing artists, like industry plant artists. And I feel like everything, just like everything else, it's got corrupted over time. I wouldn't be surprised if I was to hear that Double XL was getting paid, you know, to receive these artists. You know, the label is basically curating Double XL now. They're saying, look, we want you to put our artists on here. We're going to give you 50,000, 100,000 and put them on the cover because they know that it could potentially be great exposure. I don't know what the fuck the deal is, but I do know that Double XL lost the plot, bro. And we're talking about Double XL being sort of like a platform that is a proponent. They're like, they're supporters of like real rap, real hip hop, you know, whatever. And they were getting it right for a long time and they had a good mixture. They were putting, you know, mumble rappers on the same covers. They were putting conscious rappers or gangster rappers. And it was like a mixture of all of those things. You know what I'm saying? And then it kind of went from that to being more like only like mumble rap, or nowadays it's like all YN rappers and shit, and very few lyricists that be put on there because, you know, niggas be thinking that type of shit is lame now. Whatever, I don't know. But anyway, I say all that to say, bro, that On the Radar has sort of looked like they're trying to take the mantle and make things a little competitive. You know, they're trying to make their way. On the Radar, I've been doing these solo freestyles where they do freestyles. I mean, I know artists that's been on the Radar. And I like what they're doing. You know, over the last 3-4 years, we've been having this influx of the one mic videos where people rapping outside from a hanging microphone or whatever the case might be, rapping in the hallway, rapping in the studio. I even did one right here where I'm sitting. And I like those, you know what I'm saying? But On the Radar now has done a cypher where they're showcasing their chosen artists. I don't know the process, but if you get a chance, check this out. You know what I'm saying? I think this is pretty dope. Now, I say all that to say I'm not about to do a video on the whole cypher. I think the cypher was fire. But what I'm really doing this video is about Ray Vaughn. Ray Vaughn is on here, as well as Nassan from Detroit, or he's technically from Atlanta, but he's from Detroit. That's Proof's son, which is Eminem's friend. I met Nassan a couple times. I'm a fan of his music. I know people that know him, all that blase blah splee. And I was, you know, it's some dope artists on here. I don't even know all of them, which is the point. You know, you're supposed to be getting introduced to them. But Ray Vaughn is on here. Ray Vaughn is an artist from TDE, which is the label that Kendrick, Schoolboy, Absol, J-Rock, SZA, all of them is on. Doechii, right? And in this verse, Ray Vaughn kind of came to Doechii's defense. Let's watch it. Let's just watch it real quick.
Yeah. For Black history, I kept it solid like photographers protecting my image. Turn me into King Kong and watch me stand on the business. See, I don't fold when it's pressure. I was built for the tension, and my ego stay in check, cause my presence expensive. Grew up wearing tensions decisive. No thinking just violence. They get their apple split like sharing different music devices. We all sinners, so I never understood why they biting. They disrespected me in public, apologizing in private. I do a whole lot of straightening. Might as well put me on that S-curl box. My circle compact, no squares on my chessboard box. Give me a break with the fake rollies from the TikTok shop. Everybody ride with a stick, but I'm the best warlock. Pop, since like 7, I've been carrying weapons, cause stranger things happen. Right after the age of 11, I grew with intention.
Wow.
My weight is respected, my calm is aggressive, my season elected. It's time to sprinkle the message. I kiss my daughters before I leave the grill. I really live a thug life. The flow crack like white girls doing bumps. It's a bug bite. The fake Toy Stories come out whenever they get buzzed. Like I bust down my AP and still screaming fuck ice. I pull up with a Dairy Queen. My life is so a Stephen King. Pray that all my sins is clean. God, don't forget a theme. See, when it's over, ain't no time for the vultures. That's why I need an extra time so I can talk to the culture. Look, we stay silent. They constantly disrespect. Them little scary ass white boys should be checked. Let them think they got the juice to they press. They scared to death. They mock it and play oppressed. Bitch, melanin is a threat. Man, hell no. The culture way too quiet for me. They screaming industry plant, but they let blood on our leaves. We let them talk reckless, cause it ain't one of us on the screen. But disrespect to one of ours, that's a shot at the team. Please, I guess we all just monkeys who making jungle music. White feet on the culture, they emulate the blueprint. Mock the origin, then monetize off the movement. What it sounds like a costume, then they discard the humans. So read the room, cause this shit ain't a typo. They playing with the culture, looking at us all price low. We been through it all, but we gon' be alright though. So fuck y'all, let me talk to them white folks. We invited you to the cookout, let you mimic our steps. Gave you place in our desk, we let you copy our flesh. We shed our style, shed our rhythm, let you copy your steps. You ain't good off our season, now you spit on our chefs. Free of speech, don't be free of respect. So if you share the disrespect, then you host the neglect. Nah, we don't need pity, just the boundaries check. The accountability loud when the privilege is death. Yeah. Views with being welcome, we're owning the place. Anyone standing next to dude should be smacked in the face. See, if you profit from us, that mean you answer to us. How could you hate us so much? We built the land of the us. Versus a soul thumper, signed a TDE. In these streets, I'm a road runner. Fuck they platforms, I hope the whole thing go under. My brothers got shot, you won't catch me on no jumper. Crying the stream, once you realize the pressure it bring. Nah, take his money from him, like you take it from me. Energy off, tell him it ain't easy to read. I'm black as night, so watch how you speak on our queens. Fist up, walk around like I'm that nigga. I know you hate me, cause my dick way bigger. To all my top dogs, see what showing love do? Stop showing love to people who don't fucking love you as violent. Oh shit!
Oh shit! Hey! All right. It's a lot. It's a lot in that verse. All right. It's a lot of shit that this nigga covered from our position as artists and creators in this country. Essentially what he's saying is that they suck the blood from our culture and they use it for what they want to use it for, but they have no actual respect for it. He talked to Adin Ross, which is what my whole video is about. That's why I wanted to talk this on. He spoke to Adin Ross and he said the way they disrespect our queens or whatever he said. And I wasn't making videos at the time that Adin Ross Doechii thing was going on, like January 2026, December 2026. Back when they was going through their thing. I don't even know the origins of it, but I know it was some sort of commentary that I guess something happened where Adin Ross and Doechii started going back and forth. Adin Ross started calling her bitches and saying her music sucks and all of that type of shit. And it got to a point where it was a little too far beyond the line. Like, this is a free country. We all have freedom of speech. If I could just speak. We all got freedom of speech, right? So we're allowed to speak our minds without the threat of prison and hopefully violence, But regardless of that, there's still a cultural expectation of what, we expect from someone in terms of respect. What is the line? We draw the line. It's a cultural thing. It isn't a legal thing. We draw the line where we want to draw the line. Us as a people, black folks, we draw the line for other people in certain places. And I expect that we stand on those lines. Make sure we enforce when those lines are crossed, because otherwise, who's going to respect you, right? So eventually this thing between Doechii and Adin Ross got to the point where Glasses Malone felt like he had to step in.
When I saw that motherfucking man calling that lady all these bitches, sluts, whores, it no longer mattered who that lady was. It didn't even matter. It's a white man demeaning this black lady. When I saw it, I never got involved. I just knew it, and in my mind, I knew that once I saw Adin, I was gonna slap him in his face.
Oh my God.
And it's not just that, bro. It was last week I saw him talking, right, to some other white man, telling this white man to not apologize to black people for calling them the N-word. Whoever the other white streamer was apologizing. He was saying, hey, my bad. You feel me? Like, I that's not, I'm just jamming the songs. And then so last week I saw a clip of Adin telling him, you stupid, you shouldn't be apologizing. Blah, blah, blah. Like, it's cool if you say it. First off, white man, who are you to say this? Right? So that was last week. And then this week, it's a clip and it's showing this black lady, right? And the black lady just happens to be Doechii, right? And it's this white man. And all I see is a clip of this white man calling her, this fat
he was
bitch.
Going crazy. He
blah,
was
blah,
going
blah,
crazy,
this bitch, this smelly whore. And
crazy.
the black dude, is telling him. Now, I think the black dude is being like a dick. You know what I mean?
No,
I think
we ain't about to even do that. Because when he said the way he said it though.
Let me finish.
Go ahead.
I do think it was a disingenuous way that he was saying it. He was trying to be funny. Oh, you're gonna talk about that black queen like that. And I thought homie was trying to be funny. So I wasn't tripping off that. But that's still a cue to let you know how this is going to look publicly. You know what I'm saying? Here's your cue. And when the cue came, he doubled down. I don't give a fuck about none of that. Blah, blah, blah. She's sucking dick and licking balls. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm not the rest of these streamers. I'm not a content creator. Like, I'm Glasses Loc for real, and I'm a rapper. Like, I'm actually a rapper at a different cultural cachet. So I have access to things that other people don't. I can get in other rooms, right, coach, that other people can't get in. Right? Cool. All right, whatever. So I had made up in my mind, when I see Lil Cuz, I'm going to slap him. Right? No big deal. Somebody at the lunch table brought up the actual clip, and it kind of sent me. And instead of just losing my mind and calling him 100 bitch ass niggas, because this is what's really running through my veins. Like, bitch ass nigga, like, nigga, do something. Like, I want to say all that. I really gathered myself on that stream and explained to him my problem. Bro, you are a white man. Watch how you talking to that sister. It don't matter that she's a rapper. I don't care if y'all got rap beefs.
Right.
You are a white man talking to a black lady publicly in America. In America, fool. You know what I'm saying?
Essentially telling Adin Ross, bro, look, I don't know where you be at. You a streamer. You ain't no street nigga. I don't know where you be at, but I know niggas that know you. So he like, you keep on pressing the line, I'm going to press niggas around you until I get to you, right? And this is a loaded topic. Glasses Malone felt like he can't allow this white man, Adin Ross, who is also Jewish, I believe, to sit down on his stream and just openly disrespect black women, in real life on some shit like he can just do that and get away with it. And his commentary got a little disrespectful, like, and as a black man, it's hard for you to sort of look at the exchange and not sort of feel slighted in a racial sense. You know, I'm not trying to play the race card. This ain't even my situation, but I do know, I understand it though. You know, I get it. And I appreciate the effort of a black man attempting to respect or fight for the respect of this black woman, which is Doechii, which is who I'm talking about. You know, I think that's admirable. And I like that standard that he's setting for the culture. And he said a lot. Glasses Malone, I'm talking about, who's also from LA. He's a Crip, you know, and I think what he's trying to do is he's trying to set a precedent. And I think he's trying to make it so that, you know, it isn't okay for you to just openly slander our women, not just women, but our women, you know, because we take that as disrespect. That's the same way that they used to do us. You look at Emmett Till, you look at whoever you want to look at. You can look at modern cases, right? They don't like you threatening their women. They don't like you, you know, talking to their women, whistling at their women, stuff like that, historically, you know, and I believe in that. I think the man's job is to protect his women and his children because we are the warriors of our race. You know, men are the warriors of their race, the human race. We are the warriors of the race. So I understand it fundamentally, right? So I believe Ray Vaughn might have said something when this original thing was going on, but he spoke about it again in this freestyle. You know, this is another opportunity for him to be seen and heard, and he still had it on his mind, so he rapped about it, you know. But Ray Vaughn is her label mate. Clearly, he knows Doechii and has some sort of respect for her. Ray Vaughn has been on TDE for probably 3 years or something like that. I don't know. I don't know when he got there, but he's a newer artist. He's probably the latest, if not the second latest artist on TDE. But they're a family. You know, they've proven that over the last almost 2 decades at this point, since, you know, late 2000s. You know, they're a family. They're not just a label. When they bring people into the label, they expect a certain conduct from you. You got to be quiet. You can't be talking about interpersonal shit, which was the issue that they had with SZA and Reason, which is another artist that used to be on TDE. He was talking about all this shit that was going on with his personal contract on the label, and they ain't like it. They X'd that shit out. They end up cutting him from the label, but that's what he wanted. But they had to get him up out of there because he couldn't hold water. He wasn't with it. He wasn't with it. But all that aside, you know, Ray Vaughn is her label mate, Doechii, and he felt the need to stand up for her, as well as I can see the correlation between Adin Ross's incident with Doechii and how he related that to the sort of like cannibalizing of our culture, our art in this country, while at the same time simultaneously sort of, you know, historically treating us subhuman and not respecting us as the purveyors of culture. You know, you like to consume our output, but you don't like to, you know, be inclusive with us when it's time. I understand the correlation, and I see how his mind leapt from one thing to the other. Because Adin Ross, as far as I'm concerned, is an outsider. You are an outsider. Racially and culturally, you are a visitor. It's just facts, right? You are not black. You do not come from where we come from. Your parents are not black. They do not come from where we come from. You are a visitor. Culture is tied to race. Culture is tied to locale. Culture is tied to, lifestyle. Culture is tied to experience. Culture is tied to relatability. If you are adjacent or if you are remote, if you're distant, once you come over here, you are a visitor. I am a firm believer of that. DJ Vlad is a visitor, albeit he's been in this industry for decades, literally, interviewing, DJing, whatever, curating, whatever he does. He's still a visitor. This is not his culture. Culture matters. Words mean things. Culture belongs to a people. That's what it is. So you can't just talk about hip hop and people talk about hip hop with this smug idea like hip hop is everyone's. Everyone is allowed in. Anyone can practice it. No, that's not how it works. Culture is governed by the creators of it. And yes, we cannot stop people from being interested in it. We can't stop people from practicing it. But we certainly can have a say when we see people doing things to our culture that we don't like, just like any other culture, just like religion, just like whatever. If there's Jewish people acting in a way that the overall Jewish community does not agree with, you better believe they'll say something about it or do something about it. The same goes for the mafia. The same goes for whatever, the Zopound. The same goes for the streets. If they catch you snitching, that's against their culture. I'm not a street nigga. So I don't know the ins and outs. I know some of it, but they have a certain thing that they want, that they want niggas in the streets to behave like, even though that's all some bullshit. That's a house of cards, you know what I'm saying? But my point is, all cultures come with a certain expectation attached to them. Hip hop is no different. We simply made the mistake of whoring it out, selling it to the corporate infrastructure, and being lackadaisical about what we allow in it from outsiders and insiders. We've been lackadaisical about what is okay to us. What do we, where's the line, And it started a long time ago. The perversion of our culture happened the same time Dolores Tucker and Bill O'Reilly and all of them was talking about rap. And it's hard to draw the distinction. But we allowed the perversion of our culture. And it's hard to sort of draw a line in our culture because our culture is made up of so many complicated things. Our culture is made up of, hip hop is, I believe there's 4 branches. You're talking about B-boys, graffiti, DJing, and rap. And that's like the 4 pillars of this culture, right? And those are all like creative outlets, those are, so when you start talking about art, it gets a little tricky, it gets a little complicated, and it gets a little difficult to sort of govern those things because art is an expressive thing and it is hard to tell someone exactly how to be expressive, right? So if we wanted to be very what's the word? Like non-diplomatic about it, more so like like a dictatorship, but be a little more strict about what is allowed and what isn't allowed, then we would be restricting people from expressing themselves the way that they deem. Art is complicated like that. You have to let the artist be who they are, because that is the process. That is how you discover better art, and that is how you achieve true, the broader picture, the full picture of what art is. There's good, there's bad, there's ugly. So I understand how we got here. It's a lot of moving parts, and it's very complicated how hip hop has been dissected and split apart and hoard out the way that it has been, because we've allowed too many players to be involved in it, and we've turned it into a business instead of more so a culture. It's turned into a business. It's a cash cow. And all of these people who are outsiders, I don't give a fuck what you say. Lear Cohen is an outsider who has just been here a long time. You are not hip hop. Hip hop is the Bronx. Hip hop is New York. Hip hop is Harlem, Brooklyn. Hip hop jumped to the South. Hip hop, and then not just the South, it jumped to specific places, whether it be New Orleans, Atlanta, whether it be Dallas or Houston. Not Dallas, but more so Houston, Detroit, the Bay, Oakland, LA. It's jumped to a lot of places, right? But those are the epicenters of the evolution of this culture. That's how this culture has become what it is. That's where the patinas come from. That's where the textures come from, right? If you are not from those places and you don't live and breathe amongst those people, if you do not understand it on a molecular level, if you do not know what it feels like to live here and shake the hands of the people that are responsible for this culture, you are an outsider. If your mother and your father do not possess the DNA, the heritage that this stuff comes from. And that goes for jazz and blues and all of those other things that we created, those byproducts of who we are as people. If you are not a member of those people, if you do not belong to those people on a family tree, you are an outsider. Adin Ross is an outsider. And Adin Ross is a little too comfortable to come into a culture that is accepting him and allowing him to operate and make his money, rubbing elbows with rappers and black kids that are also streaming and tastemakers or whatever you want to call these people that he be associating with. All of these little niggas, they're allowing you into this space, and you're basically disrespecting the grace that has been extended to you. That's the way that I see things. It's the same way that they treat us when we cross over into their genres. They treat country like it is their last hope. And they were so mad at Beyonce, and they were so mad at RMK or whatever the other nigga name is. They were so mad at Lil Nas X and all of those things because lines started to be blurred. You know why? Because those lines are set in place by the people that govern that culture, and they don't like it when shit gets muddied up. But it's okay, and everybody understands it when they say it about their shit. But when we say it about hip-hop, then we're being exclusive. Then we're being non-inclusive. And we're being, anti or whatever you want to frame it as. But everybody else can do it, and they think that that's normal. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Adin Ross to come into a culture and then start talking greasy about people that are in this culture that are loved and protected. Doechii clearly has people that loves her and that's willing to go there for her. So if you choose to attack that person, you got to accept what comes with it. Adin Ross gets threatened, and then the first thing he does is he starts calling other people that are in the culture.
But listen,
Right, what up, Nash?
Yo, this dude named Glasses Loke and Trap Bradshaw, they're threatening me.
Glasses? Oh, no, I know them dudes, bro. Trap ain't nobody. Don't pay him no attention. Glasses, that's family.
Okay, well, can you call Glass and let him know to tee up and get off my PP? I'm
gonna hit nephew. That's family. That's Glasses Malone.
Oh, okay, all right.
Trap is just clout chasing. He's a clubhouse like I follow. Don't pay him no mind. Don't even mention his name. Glasses Malone is who he is. I'll call nephew right now.
All right, Wack. Thanks, bro. I don't really care.
You know, if you're in the culture, you don't got to make phone calls like that. You don't got to make phone calls as an outsider to someone, hey, can you be my representative and squash this beef? If you're in the culture, you know who to call directly related to the problem. You don't have to call some offshoot of a person. This nigga calls Wack 100. Wack 100 don't really have shit to do with this. Doechii's not signed to Wack 100, but he can't call TDE because he don't know them niggas. He's not from that hood. He don't know these people. You know what I'm saying? You are an outsider. If I get into it with a nigga, and let's just say, like I do music, right? I'm an engineer. We have a community here in Detroit. I know people all over the city in all different sorts of cliques and corners of this music thing, whether they street niggas or whatever. I know all kinds of niggas, and I can make phone calls and damn near get in touch with anybody that I want. You know why? Because I live here and I am submerged in this. You know, this is something that I live and breathe in. I'm not somebody who comes from some suburb and I just took an interest in it and now I bought me a camera and set this shit up and now I'm like partaking in something that has nothing to do with me. I grew up in it. You know, I know where I was when Tupac died. You know, I've been here. This is where I've been at. I live in Detroit. I'm from Detroit. Not from Dearborn. You know what I'm saying? I'm not from West Bloomfield. I'm from this motherfucker. I'm in Detroit now. I'm on Joy Road. So I don't need somebody to usher me into this shit. I had no choice. You know what I'm saying? That's the difference. But let's flip it. If someone was to ask me, who are the movers and shakers on Wall Street? Who do I call to broker a deal? Bro, I don't know. I don't know. And those are places that we have not had access to. You know what I'm saying? Those are places that we have not had access to, which is why we don't know how to move in those places. We have no idea. Because we did not grow up and we don't live and breathe that. We don't eat, sleep, and shit Wall Street or finance or business. Those are not our corners, you know, unfortunately. So it's no wonder to me how Grant Cardone and all of these other people, whether it be Bill Gates or Steve Jobs or Warren Buffett or whoever you want to name, you know, those superstars in the business and the finance space. It's no wonder to me how they gotten to where they are because they grew up in a culture that promotes financial literacy and they understand these things ins and outs. It's the same way why white people look at us like, why do these motherfuckers play basketball so well? It's because that's what we have available to us and we play it from infancy up into old age. LeBron is 40-something years old still playing basketball. That's what we do all of our lives. Even more than football. Culturally, black people are more tied to basketball than football. That's why we're so good at it. It's what we do. It's ours. Music is something that black people have been tied to for tens of thousands of years. Tens of thousands of years. It is how we communicate. It's something that's spiritual to us as a people, right? That's what, I don't know, that's a gift that we were born into. It's a gift that we were given through divinity. It was something that I feel like was bestowed upon us, right? For whatever reason. I don't know the biblical significance, but I do know that that is something that seems to be a fact, right? So here Adin Ross is stepping out of bounds, and these black men are doing what they are supposed to do. I feel like there was a sort of like an arrogant stance that was being taken. Like, who are y'all to speak up and, you know, what do this got to do with y'all? Y'all trying to defend black women. And then you got people say things like, y'all disrespect women in songs all the time. Okay. Let me put it to you in these terms. You know, we make songs about bitch shake that ass. I'm gonna fuck this hoe and calling them hoes and bitches, right? Why is there an assumption that all black men agree with that? That's number one. Why is there an assumption that all black men agree with that? I use the bitch word. I call bitches hoes when I feel like they being hoes. But guess what? I ain't never called my mama neither one of those things. So we all can acknowledge that there's a distinction between one thing and the other. If you're not a bitch, if you're not a hoe, why is you jumping to a hoe's defense? Now, I can see if I said something broad, like all black women was hoes, right? Or all bitches ain't shit. All bitches, all women is bitches, and all bitches ain't shit. You know? But even Snoop Dogg, who is known for saying that, right? Had to make the distinction because he said, I remember an interview where they basically asked him, how do you reconcile with that? And his answer was, I had to understand that not all women are this thing. I have a wife. I have daughters. It's music. It's me expressing myself. I say all sorts of things in my music. It doesn't mean that I make these broad generalizations about everyone. I say nigga. I don't refer to everybody like nigga. So you can draw a distinction between one thing and the other. These things aren't mutually exclusive. I can talk about bitches and hoes and still have love for my mama or my sister or my woman or whatever, my wife or my daughter. Or my doctor or a stranger on the street. It doesn't have to be a relative. But my point is this. For people to take the stance like, who are these niggas between Glasses Malone and Ray Vaughn? Who is these niggas to say who we can and who we cannot talk about? Who are they to defend her? Nigga, they're black men defending a woman that looks like their mothers. That's what the fuck the point is. This is what we're supposed to do. Stand up and fight for what you believe in. If these niggas believe in protecting these women, Glasses Malone, I believe, said that he don't even know Doechii, if I remember. But he's associated with these people. I think he's met her. Like, he knows her. But Doechii's not from L.A. I believe Doechii is from Florida. So it's not like he grew up with her. But he saw it as offensive that a white man is sitting in front of the world dogging a black girl out like it ain't shit, like she ain't shit. He can call her bitches and whatever else he called her and feel like he can do it with impunity. It doesn't matter. When our people have literally been lynched for less on the other side of the spectrum, on the other side of the aisle. We've been lynched for less. And here this nigga is calling her all out her name, disrespecting her music, and her personally. And we just gonna let that fly? No. 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 That's all I gotta say, man. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, all that sort of shit. Help me out, man. I'm trying to get back out here and build some more. Before I ultimately disappear again. Because those are the ebbs and flows of my life. Sometimes I need a break from all of you niggas. So, holla at me, man.